Well, here we are with this BSA Super Rocket again, and I wouldn't have been making this video except that a few comments actually drew my attention to the matter. Both comments on YouTube, and I even had one guy message me via Facebook about it, and I'm very grateful to everybody who commented. Actually, I mean, I'd have probably or possibly stumbled on the matter by the time I was taking the front wheel off to change the tyre when that time comes. But anyway, several of you spotted this and realised before I did. Regarding the offset of the wheel that I said, I commented on that I could adjust that at the spokes to move the rim over and centralise the wheel between the forks. Well, a few people pointed out that they thought that because of the so-called upgrade incorrect front brake on here, that was responsible, and that it wasn't engaging fully with its slot with the notch on the right hand fork leg. If we have a look at this here, I've been having a look at it, hopefully this will come out on the video. Alright, let's zoom in on it a little. Should actually be able to see there. That's gone a bit blurry. Ah, that's better. Someone has actually built the notch on the fork leg up with weld and sort of ground and filed it, whatever. You can see on the top of it there that it's all quite sort of rough. That's just the weld that hasn't been ground, I suppose. So they built that up to make it stick out further, to try and make it engage better with the brake plate, which there's reasonable but not far from brilliant engagement there, but that's not going to sort of slip out of there, so that's something, although it could sort of compromise the strength of the alloy. It's not, with it not engaging full depth, it's going to make the aluminium casting more vulnerable to braking loads, I would think, so it's not a great thing at all. So I thought perhaps I could just slacken the clamps off on the forks and move the wheel closer this way, seeing as we got room there. But a couple of other little matters. You can see there that this brake operating arm is actually already touching and rubbing on that mudguard stay. So that would initially possibly lead myself or anyone else to think that, oh well, the brake plate's as far over to the right as possible, but that would be easy enough to overcome, because what I would do, I'd use a longer bolt there and basically put a spacer between where the stay attaches to the bottom of the fork leg and the stay itself, just to move the stay out a little and create some room. That's not a big problem. But another thing I've spotted, obviously the brake is off there, and whether I can do this, I'll try. I'm not an octopus. In fact, there, that spring washer doesn't even look like it's fully compressed if we look at that. Applying the brake. This brake arm, someone's already ground that down. You can tell by the sort of rusty area there. They've broken through the galvanised coating or whatever it's had. But basically, by the time the brake is applied, that arm is all but touching that bolt at the bottom of the fork cap there. So even that could impede, with a bit more wear on the brake linings. I've actually got, it's coming to a hard stop. It's hitting that mirror there. I can move that anyway, that's not a big one, but the lever is actually clicking against that. But it's not far off making this click against the head of that bolt there. And probably further down the line, should the brake linings wear down, which they inevitably will do, you might find that that arm is hitting that bolt before the brake is fully applied. So, great idea to fit a bigger, better brake. Not such a great idea in practice when you find that it doesn't really sort of fit in a way that it can work to its most efficient. Another one I'll have to do probably is grind the head of that nut down, because the brake plate is not touching it, but it's close to it. If I want to move this lot over, I'm going to have to create some space there, and like I say, behind this stay, and I think it can probably be done, and we can move the wheel over a little bit and get better engagement of that slot and notch there, which would be certainly give me a bit more peace of mind. But thanks to those who drew my attention to it in the first place. I'll certainly see what I can do about the situation, but obviously someone had a great idea but didn't really think it through too well when they implemented it. But I'm sure we can probably improve on it, make it work a lot better, until if and when the brake linings wear down and that arm decides it wants to start touching that bolt head. We could even grab a little bit, possibly by using a slimmer washer there and tightening the bolt, because that doesn't look tight to me at all. But I'm going to look into everything. As someone else remarked, yes, this is bent here. I don't know whether it's adjusted to sort of make allowances for that bend. It looks to me as if that bend might have happened with this rod at some time catching perhaps the head of perhaps they had a bolt in there with a bigger head on it, or perhaps they had the bolt put in the other way around with that thick nut on the end of it, and they pulled the brake and it's come up and bent the rod. I don't know, but one thing at a time. Hopefully I'll be able to improve that dramatically and make it quite a bit safer, and perhaps I won't have to touch and adjust the spokes on this one at all. But you can see there's quite a bit of spindle sticking out on this side, which could easily be shoved that way if I attend to a couple of matters, just to make a bit more room for the brake plate to come this way. So that's what I'll be trying to do. Not necessarily next, but I will be at some point, because the wheel's got to come off. Like I say, I've ordered tyres. I couldn't get a 419 rear tyre. The only one that I could get, 419, is what it would have had originally, and that would have made it would have looked a lot sort of chunkier and fatter. The only 419 tyre I could find had too low a speed rating on it. It had a P rating, which is 93 miles an hour, which, some might say, well, that'll be more than enough. It probably would, but machines such as this are capable of going well the other side of 100 miles an hour, or were in their day. I don't suppose that any or many would try and do that now, but the tyre was a Mitas, I think it was, and it was P rated, which was 93 miles an hour. So I'm going to go for a 350 by 19 Dunlop K70. At one time they made them in a 419, but you can't get them anymore. 350 is the biggest, so that'll have to do. And on the front we're going to have a 325 19 Dunlop K70. 325 19 is the size of tyre that was listed for this model originally. So we'll have the original size and section on the front, and we'll have a slightly skinnier profile tyre, but the nearest I could get with a decent speed rating on the rear. Dunlop K70s front and rear, new inner tubes, new rim tapes, and that brake hopefully made a little more useful. So anyone that might want to see how that goes, I should hopefully be doing that soon once the tyres come.